A Wolverine origin movie, plus Deadpool, plus a myriad of different X-Men characters all rolled into one film. What does it equal? Let's get into it.
Ooh, shiny.
Shia, what is going on, everybody? It is yours truly, the Ace, here with my review to X-Men Origins Wolverine as the Fox Watch continues. 5 down, 13 to go, leading into Deadpool and Wolverine. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and join me down below in the comment section and let me know what you thought about this movie and your level of disappointment. Hard to believe that they could include everything into this movie and it be a massive failure. We're here to talk about it. Without further ado, let's get into it. This is just a complete mess of a movie. While it does have some fun things in it, it is extremely flawed. It feels like they had all the pieces in place, just couldn't put it together, and at the end, left us all puzzled. Bars. The casting continues to be the best parts about these movies. They don't miss on that front. Definitely should mention yet again, Hugh Jackman's performance in this is excellent as Wolverine. His 4th time in the role, he really has an understanding of this character like no one else can. He's great in this. Liev Schreiber is a great addition as Sabretooth.
Having fun yet?
Love the dynamic that they have. The beginning, they're brothers, then become the antagonist slash protagonist of the story, and then at the end, a little bit of they part on an understanding. Continuity wise, it conflicts with what we saw in the first X-Men movie, but their dynamic works, and I like seeing them two on screen together. I like Taylor Kitsch in the role as Gambit, personifies that perfectly, looks just like him, has the charisma just like Gambit. Didn't get to see him in the first 3 movies. Gambit's such a huge part of the X-Men, but it's glad to see him brought on the big screen in this role. I personally would like to see him going forward as Gambit, like in more Marvel movies and stuff like that. I thought he did a phenomenal job. One of the bright spots of this movie. It really is unfortunate because the rumors of Channing Tatum being Gambit kind of forced him out of this role. Never really bought into those. Can't see Channing as an actor that can really pull off the Cajun type accent. And I do feel like he was just going to be eye candy for this universe, and I do feel like Taylor Kitsch really didn't get a fair shot, which is unfortunate because I think that he was perfect for this role and I would have loved to see more of that. Also, even though he had a very small role, I did enjoy seeing Kevin Durand in this.
Did you just call me Blob?
Even though it was very brief, I imagine it was probably so much fun to play that. Like the roles that he has, like in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Proxima Caesar and this, how he's able to be completely over the top and just immerse himself in these characters based on like either motion capture or the fat suit. That just has to be so much fun as an actor. And like I said, he was great in it and I wish we would have saw more. Now I'm kind of mixed on the action sequences. While I do think they're entertaining, some of them are a little bit over the top to the point where it kind of suspends disbelief, like the Wolverine motorcycle chase sequence where he ultimately takes down a helicopter. I'm like, that's cool to see, but it kind of feels like this movie has to go over the top with the action. I do think the Wolverine walking away from the explosion close-up was pretty badass, but it does have a lot of over-the-top sequences just like that. Especially in the 3rd act where, you know, Ryan Reynolds as a terrible Deadpool, which we'll get more into in the bad section, is just extremely overpowered with all these abilities. And it's like the way they have to kind of up the ante is just unbelievable, where it's like they're fighting. Then all of a sudden, I have to climb this nuclear reactor because it'll be a cooler fight scene on top of a reactor. And like I said, it's just to the point where it kind of just suspends disbelief. And that's what makes it, the action sequences to me, just okay. All right, let's get into the bad. It's a lot. So I'm going to start with visually. This movie does not look good at all. Now, there are moments in the action sequences, like I said, that look okay. But from a CGI standpoint, they look terrible. To the point where I remember when I first watched this movie, didn't go to the theater to see it. I actually watched it when it came out to DVD. was like, am I watching test footage? Because that's how bad it feels a lot of the times in this film, especially like when you see Wolverine's claws, they look very animated, and it just looked like it wasn't a finished product that they pushed out there. The Patrick Stewart cameo at the end looked really bad. Like, was he able to get on set? It really did feel like he wasn't able to get there, and we're gonna use a computer generated Patrick Stewart, like something out of a video game. It kind of takes you out of the movie with how bad this is visually. Some of the action sequences are okay, but visually it is just a horrible mess that I feel like is very disappointing, especially considering it had a decent budget, especially considering how good visually the other three looked. This one was a massive disappointment. Plot wise, this movie is all over the place. It absolutely has no identity and doesn't know what it truly wants to be. Is it a Wolverine and Sabretooth movie? Is it a Weapon X origin? Is it a love and loss story? I don't know. I don't even think they really knew. Like I said, it's all over the place starting from the beginning. It has some cool concepts where, you know, I like the montage of Wolverine and Sabretooth fighting in the wars throughout the year after we have found out they're brothers. Then it goes on to like the Stryker excursion where he's looking for adamantium. All that takes place before the main plot actually kicks in, which is Wolverine and his love interest, which is also really hard to get into because we don't spend a lot of time with them on screen together. So ultimately, when we find out, you know, when the major plot kicks in, it's hard to really feel for the Wolverine character because it's rushed. With a short runtime, they really felt like they jammed. It really felt like they jammed a lot into this short runtime. A bunch of major plot points that they just get through really quickly. The Wolverine Weapon X is such a huge arc in the X-Men, and they just went through that really briefly, and it felt very cheap at the end of the day. So that's why I say, like, plot, this movie is like one of the worst plotted X-Men movies in this entire franchise. On top of just an awful script that it just really felt like the writers had no direction on where they wanted to take these movies, which is extremely disappointing because it's a good concept. Imagine if we could have got origin movies for all the famous X-Men, which I think that's the direction they wanted to go into, but being the disarray with the Fox universe, with we just had Last Stand that was bad, and this one it was bad. First Class, which is going to be next, is a great restart to the universe, and this is why I say the Fox verse is just all over the place continuity wise. They have no direction. And with this also, I don't know if it is, but it really feels like it's a victim of reshoots, because like a lot of the scenes when you're watching them, it really feels like, were these actors really there when this was shot together? Like, especially on the close-ups, because it just feels like they're out of place, and it looks differently aesthetic wise. It looks like it's shot differently than the other sequences that it's in. Okay, lastly, let's get into the worst part of the movie, hands down, without a doubt. You guys know what I'm talking about. Deadpool, on how they ruined the first appearance of live action Deadpool, which is a shame because Ryan Reynolds is perfect for the role, proven by Deadpool 1 and 2 on how those are two of the highest grossing R-rated movies. He is so perfect for the role. He was born for it. And this movie just completely shits on that. Whose idea was it to not only sew up the mouth of the merc with the mouth,
Yeah, Stryker finally figured out how to shut you up.
but also decide we're going to give him a myriad of all these different abilities, and we're going to have him face off against Wolverine and Sabretooth. It was just such a terrible decision. Whoever made that decision probably shouldn't work in Hollywood no more. I mean, I'm not clamoring for anybody to get fired or anything or never work again, but it's just, it was just so evident how terrible that decision was. Like, who greenlit that? It's to the point where it serves as more of a meme than an actual means to a movie. And I'm glad that we actually got to see Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool 1 and 2, where he absolutely shines. And they're able to actually make fun of themselves.
Hey, it's me. Don't scratch.
Because this could have really been a wasted opportunity. I'm just glad that Deadpool got another chance, and Deadpool and Wolverine is less than a week away from this video dropping, and I can't wait for that. My favorite part about this movie is the adamantium sequence. We got to see briefly the Weapon X arc, which is huge for the Wolverine character and his origin.
I think you heard you.
Thing I like the most about these superhero movies is the becoming of the superhero moment. And in this moment, we truly see Logan become the Wolverine.
I want new ones.
What do you want him to say?
Wolverine.
And it was such a badass scene and one of the best parts about this movie. But overall, despite having such a great cast that really feel like these characters, it's not enough to make this movie any more than the shit show that it is. Score, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It is just a terrible plot, bad CGI, bad visuals, kind of, like I said, a movie that's all over the place, has no identity. Not just one of the worst X-Men movies, but one of the worst superhero movies that you'll ever see. Before I get out of here, a special PSA from yours truly, the Ace. Exclusive The Ace Avenue Deadpool and Wolverine inspired merchandise is available right now at spreadshop.com/The Ace Avenue. Get your hands on this merch from the biggest movie of the year. And for all those that buy merchandise, send me a picture at The Ace Avenue and I'll post it right here on the channel. But appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe as the Fox Watch will continue leading into and a little bit after Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm definitely making sure I finish this one. I know you guys have enjoyed it so far, and I've enjoyed making them, and I appreciate you all for watching. You guys are the best. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for your sports, movies, and more. Thank you guys. As always, thank you for tuning into the Ace Avenue. I am yours truly, the Ace. Adios.